Pick up with Sasha, who had been tasked with setting up the camp outside of the cave system. You're on radio comms, at least that's what they said, but obviously after a certain depth that becomes problematic, and it seems they've hit that depth as the radios start to just produce white noise on that specific channel.
Okay.
Leaving you somewhat disconnected and alone. The only thing existing in this area is trees, rocks, the camp that's been set up, and Robbie's truck. Is there anything specific that you would want to do, or specific things you would want to get set up?
We're looking, I mean, ideally we're just going in the caves, finding what we need and coming back out, so it's not like we're getting set up for a multi-day camping expedition. But just making sure, like, the food's secure, not, like, hang from the trees so that it's difficult for bears to get at, and just, making sure that we've got a good and robust campsite. Like, she's probably been camping a little bit, and again, the idea is not we're setting up tents, she's setting up tents, but at the very least to, have a secure location we can fall back to once we've recovered the children.
Why don't you go ahead and a perception roll?
And that is... What's perception roll again?
Wits composure.
Oh, got some successes.
The area is peaceful, calm. You hear what you would expect to hear. Animals. But after a certain point, the animals stop. Birds stop chirping. There seems to be a bit of silence that washes over the forest. And you hear a branch snap, as if being stepped on.
I'm going to try and reduce my visibility while trying to discern which direction it came from. Like, if it's coming from the north, I'm kind of wanting to get behind some trees that are facing the north, so that way I'm not as easily visible, but I've got some line of sight for anyone coming up on me.
Let's do a combination roll instead of having you make 2 rolls there, because let's do wit stealth. Stealth to actually reduce your profile, and then the wits to start picking up on the direction.
Nothing.
The sound was far enough away that, especially in this type of area, it's hard to tell. And eventually, after a few moments, you do begin to hear movement again. It stopped after the branch snapped, which does give you some indication that the thing that snapped the branch understood I just made a loud noise. Better pause.
Okay. So now the question is, without knowing where it is, do I call out towards it, or do I just try and hope that it hasn't seen me? Friend or foe? I think I'm going to play to my virtue of compassionate, and I'm just cross my fingers, hope for the best. Sasha calls out, "Hello? Who's there?"
Two individuals step out. They're both... One of them is how you would expect somebody, you know, maybe spending a night out in the woods should be dressed. The other one, yes and no, when it comes to that. This individual, the smaller of the two, because there is a considerable height difference between them. One of them stands roughly about 5'6", 5'7". The other one is pushing, I had to take a guess, 6'4", 6'5". This massive hulking individual. And it's the hulking individual that seems to be wearing far more padding than you would normally expect to see. It's the smaller one that kind of raises a hand up and goes, "Didn't expect to see anybody else out here. Sorry, we didn't mean to disturb you."
It's all good. Sorry to be a little jumpy. Me and my friends are out here looking for some spelunkers.
Oh, that they begin to they make their presence very known. They come out, you know. They stand within the camp and they go, "Oh, so you're part of the police then?"
Is going cave diving a crime?
I would assume that usually for going in after somebody, something happened, and usually those are trained professionals, and at least in conjunction with the police. He kind of makes the gesture of like, I thought it was a fair assumption.
Sasha just shrugs. You know, I mean, people get lost in caves. We are kind of out here to see if we can get some people unlost, but it's not a police matter, I don't think.
How long have you guys been out here? We've been out here... lifts his head as if he's trying to... Turns his head slightly to the left. 3 days, I want to say?
Oh God, no, we just arrived.
We've been out here for that long. It's just kind of odd. We know that the cave systems are public, but we didn't think that this particular area was for the cave system.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it so exciting, right? There's always the thought that you're gonna find something that no one else has found before. So this is the entrance that my friends went in, and you know, they just said, you know, be ready to have a fire if it's going for us, so that we can get warm if this takes too long.
Oh. He kind of dusts himself off. Oh, I apologize. My name is Sig, by the way.
I'm Sasha. Who's your friend?
Looks over his shoulder and... Not the most talkative of ones. kind of looks over expectantly. Kurt, that's the only thing you've heard this very large person say.
Okay. You guys,
Doesn't do
you
good
said
with
you've been out here.
people.
I can understand that. Is that why you're out here? You've been out here for 3 days. I'm guessing you're not lost.
Oh, no, our camp's just probably maybe 2-3 miles back that way. Makes a gesture into the woods, just on a hike. And we heard a truck go by, so you don't usually hear vehicles come out this way, so we just wanted to see what was going on. And if you think you're jumpy, kind of makes a head gesture back at the big guy. He's even worse, so don't feel too bad. I told him that, I'm fine, but, sense of camaraderie and all that.
Yeah, I know how it goes. My friends and I, you wouldn't necessarily expect us to be pals if you just saw us on the street. Or I guess in the woods if you guys are living in the woods. Is that why you're out here?
Nah, just... He takes out, like, what appears one of the folding chairs that, you guys had packed, and kind of takes a seat in it. Doesn't ask, just kind of takes a seat in it. And then realizes what he's done and kind of goes, it's okay if I sit, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to assume anything.
It's a free country. I thought you were on a hike, though.
And now I'm in a conversation. Kind of chuckles. Now, you ever just... You live in a city, and you're just like, I have to get the hell out of here, otherwise I am going to lose it. So, took a couple of days off of work, and I'm out here. He kind of just shakes his head. I don't like being in cities. Yet that's where work is, that's where everything is, so almost unavoidable sometimes.
Makes sense. Yeah, I don't mind the crowds myself, but takes all kinds, I guess.
How do you do it? Kind of an odd question, I realize, but like, I just can't.
The world is full of problems. And you need people to solve those problems. I mean, people make a lot of problems too. But, you look at someone and your heart's trying to say, this is some bum, this is some intruder, this is some, maniac. But if you listen to your head, you can look at it and say, what kind of problems could this person solve? And that's just what you have to do, is you have to work with the people to solve the problems.
It's also, at this point, I need Sasha to make me Make sure I'm doing the math here correct. A breaking point roll at -2.
And what's my breaking point roll?
That is resolve composure. If anybody wants to fact check me on that, I believe it is though.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right, but breaking points here would go.
They're on the main
Yeah.
roll 20.
Resolve
yeah.
composure.
Oh. Resolve composure. Alright. At a -2. Dice like me on that.
There's a sensation of dread that starts to permeate your mind. It's subtle. Like,
Is it Sig or is it Kurt?
it's not about either of them specifically. It's just... You would expect this kind of behavior from your brain if it was late at night, you know, starting to manifest threats where there are none and the like. And that's what it feels like your brain is attempting to do at this time. It's an odd sensation.
Sasha checks the radio. Just like, not, you know, in the face, but just like key on the radio to make sure that it's turned on and that she could hear anything if there's anything to hear.
You still hear that distinct...
Just
Yeah. Sig kind of looks over. Something wrong? You're kind of fiddling with the radio there.
no, they just caves run deep, but that's we knew that's gonna happen. They're due back. They've only just nipped in and they're gonna nip out. They should be back at any time.
It's also at this point that you kind of notice Kurt kind of shift in his skin a little bit. He stayed kind of far away. He's still leaning up against that tree, but you do see him start to shift a little uncomfortably. Almost kind of looks like he's trying to scratch his back on the tree. But through the very thick clothing, you doubt that's possible. Or at least it wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Sasha's gonna keep her focus on him, but she's gonna keep talking. Yeah, they're, you know the type. They, as I said, they're not like me. They do this sort of stuff all the time. I think one of them's one of those survival nuts, lives in a bunker, knows how to handle himself, knows they're tough. And they're nearby.
Good friends to have, honestly. Especially this day and age.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Agreed. I mean, I remember the first time I met Kurt. Ooh. Let me tell you, getting in a drinking match with him and then him finding out that you cheated, that's a terrifying experience. Having that guy stand over the top of you, ready to throw down. There's a very nervous chuckle.
He looks like he's capable of anything when he's angry.
Go ahead and roll perception.
Peace and composure. What just happened?
And
Oh.
and composure for them.
Accidentally moved my Roll20 browser.
Oh no.
That's all good. It's Opera Man, mouse gestures.
Ah. They both did really good on their perception.
Huh? Look at us, bunch of perceptive people percepting things together.
Everybody's attention is drawn immediately to the cave as there's this... It's sound. It's hard to tell. You can tell it's deep in the cave. But it sounds almost like an animal growling. At least from where the three of you are. Sig kind of raises an eyebrow. I hope that's not one of your friends. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like what we're expecting.
I would start asking other questions if you were expecting that. Sig kind of chuckles nervously. Are you gonna go down there now, or...
I mean, as I said, my friends are capable. Like, no offense, but like, what says you don't just run off with our chairs, or our food, or the truck? Not that I'm saying anything against you or your friend. It's just, you're on a hike in the forest and we've run into some bad people before, and as you said, you can't really know people.
Alright. So at this point, I'm going to... Where's the roll I need? Sorry, I've got to look up the specific role that this character...
Yeah.
Curse Onyx Path for not giving a proper layout. Okay,
Who needs formatting?
seriously. What is it called? Oh, yeah. I probably misspelled that word, but it's fine. I only need to know what it means. That particular sound Not sure why. But it made your blood run cold. Sasha. It was a delayed effect. It didn't happen right when you first heard it, but in the moments after, that's when, I don't know, there's something that got under your skin about it.
Sasha's definitely going to look back at the caves, but she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. So she definitely takes a look back at the caves and sort of checks that she's got her truncheon on hand, which of course she does, but then turns back to Sig and to Kurt.
Look, okay, you may not be worried about your friends, but that cry honestly makes me worried. Kind of looks back to Kurt. Kurt, do be a dear friend, and I'll owe you at least 50 bottles of whatever alcohol you want. But you think you could go in there and find them? Kurt looks over at Sasha, back at Sig, shrugs, and begins to make his way towards the cave entrance.
I better come too. Like, as you said, could be something bad down there. I don't want my friends to get jumpy and your friend to get hurt.
Sig kind of chuckles. You think highly of your friends if you think that they could hurt him.
I've seen my friends hurt some pretty bad stuff out there.
Kurt continues to move towards the front of the cave, not paying the conversation any mind. Stig doesn't make any sort of move to stop you or anything.
All right, Sasha is going to break off of the conversation and head towards the cave entrance.
Before you do that, as Sasha goes to stand up, she finds her legs not really wanting to obey. Be able to go forward. I need a resolve composure roll for you to calm Sasha's nerves. And before we get to the results of that roll, we're going to switch to inside the cave. Bishop, Frederick, Edward. Pointing whatever. I know Bishop's pointing their firearm down the tunnel where the scream emanated from.
mean, I'm not carrying one, so I'm pointing a flashlight down the, I'm pointing my light down the tunnel.
With the light, I'll start to make my way down it, but quietly.
I'm right behind them, and with the Glock just looking at the darkness to see whatever is going to come out.
You want to find anything, make sure you do it as a last resort, because you ain't going to hear anything for days. Oh.
Not to give the game away, I'm just shaking my head.
How much do you trust this? Do you want guns in point, or do you want me to go forward? You really think that's a kid down there?
I don't think that's a kid down there. I think that's something possibly with a kid down there. I'm afraid this mission is fast changing from saving them to recovering them. But let's not be too hasty, so no, I don't think that's a kid we're gonna find there. It is not a kid alone.
Well, I mean, I'll take point unless somebody else wants to. That's
Going
kind
down
of
there.
Do you want me in front of the guns or no? Or say again, life?
I'm just gonna touch both of them in the back. Guys, the pat in the back, basically, the kids, they really need us, and we are their only hope, as you know. Inspire them, basically. We have to be their last hope. Nobody else is coming.
Do we still have Inspired from last time?
Do we? Is it per session or
continue?
Inspire? Like, that's a storyteller question. Shall I do it? Or...
It should... I'm gonna say if it hasn't been used, it's still there, just because that's how we have been handling conditions. It's there until it gets resolved.
Alright, if that's the case, I think you both have it. Let's continue.
Yeah, so look, if you want to try and talk to about here, I think there's a conversation.
I wish I heard any of that.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out really badly.
For a second.
You're talking in a low voice and your mic cuts out, so I hear nothing.
Look, if you were talking to whatever that down there, you think you can talk him down?
We should give it a shot, at least to come clean or give the kids back, if anything.
I don't know what we're talking down. That could be a bear down there, for all I know.
You come in.
You know, this cave was actually pretty... That's part of their, like, visitor center. They found some old fossilized cave bears and some other bones down here. Read up on it before we came.
Well,
I don't think we're fighting an undead bear, though.
Huh.
well,
I say this after we just came out of a city of dead people, but...
I'm looking at the pistol, and folks, you do realize that in close quarters a handgun against a bear is not very comforting odds, so let's see if that's the case. Double back, slowly, smile at the bear. Don't make it, don't create any, no sudden moves. Step back, smile more, step back, nod one more, turn around, out.
Right, but the longer we sit here talking, if there is someone in danger, they're dying down there, so I'm going forward. I don't care if I get shot in the back by my teammates, I'm going forward.
Good man.
you ever hear the joke in the forest, Padre?
This is your territory.
Somewhere in the forest. They come.
Your internet is
Oh.
giving us every other word.
Sorry, it's really fluctuating.
I'm gonna pull my rosary a little bit. Let me whisper a little prayer for these kids. Hopefully.
Let's what needs offers up a prayer. Second, I have 2 laces. First,
We're getting
Mrs.
every
Network
other
there.
thing.
Getting every other pixel in the frame too. Like, I feel bad, but like every time he speaks, I'm like, sorry, can't hear it.
Wonder if turning off the video might help, just to get the audio out.
no, it's just up and down. Don't worry.
Okay.
Kids in Fortnite.
So.
Frederick, can I get a wit survival to traverse the cave deeper?
Can I
You got
can I
it,
assist?
boss.
Yes, you can.
I will.
You inspired
As well.
Frederick. Yeah.
I already used it actually.
Did you?
I used it last time to try to read a map better.
Okay.
I'm back on form. Here we go.
0 successes. All right, so you're on your own,
No,
Frederick.
It's okay.
get
I
out of the
have
way.
a specialty, so I'll pretend that this 1 extra dice was your help.
Thank you.
With sense survival, huh?
Okay, with 1 success, you begin to navigate deeper into the caves. Until you hear another scream. Louder this time. And closer. Can I get perception from all 3 of you? Whoa, I hear a vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner that just fell down the stairs, yeah. Wits perception? Wits composure, I mean?
Yes.
Wits perception.
2.
And did we lose? No, we didn't lose it. Can I get perception, Bishop?
My apologies. Let me do that. That's with sign composure, I believe, right?
Yes.
Just do it. Yeah. It's and composure. Let's do that. Alright.
Successes. Everybody got 2 successes. Okay. Following these screams, once the echoing stops, you hear footsteps is not an accurate word. You hear something that sounds like it might be feet, but it's also paired with something flatter, creating a much... It sounds like a human maybe walking on all 4s and slapping their hands down as well. And that's when you see it. You don't see it on the cave floor. You see it on the cave ceiling. You can't make out its form. Not until the light is shined directly on it. The only reason you know it's there is because of 4 glowing red eyes. Frederick, didn't need a control. Because even if this isn't the same thing,
Yeah. Flat composure?
composure resolve.
I feel like this is the first time I've rolled resolve in months.
Thing begins to move closer. The eye is getting slightly larger as it gets closer and presumably widens its eyes. Is anybody going to shine a light on this thing, or are we backing up at this point?
I mean, yeah, I'm. Yeah, what are you doing up there? You again? Yes, Frederick will
would
be
continue to
shining the
open, like,
light up
outcomes.
there, kind of muttering under his breath, you know, multiple things.
At first, what you see is a human, for lack of a better word. Naked, emaciated, two odd-sized lumps on their head, fingers slightly elongated, toes slightly elongated as well, gripping onto the surface as they move slowly. They freeze as soon as the light hits. Hair is this stringy white color. Their skin is almost purely white with red hues, like almost red spider web type formations on random parts of their body. And as you shine the light, you only see two eyes. You don't see the four eyes that you saw in the dark.
Very like a whisper. Guys, that doesn't look like a bear to me. I'm gonna say we could be lucky today.
I'm gonna, looking up at the ceiling. You able to talk to us?
It makes a move. It goes from clinging to the ceiling on all fours to just hanging from it with one hand before letting go and dropping down to the cave floor below it. It stays in a crouched position. You start to notice its arms are too long as well. Not just the fingers, its arms are too long as well, as it kind of wraps its arms around its legs. Still in a crouched position, head up, squinting against the light. Get the impression it probably can't see very well with the light being shined directly at it.
Yeah, shine it off to the side, kind of not directly in its face, because that's a bit rude, to anyone.
Begins to blink visibly, as if trying to get the light out of its eyes.
English, Espanol, anything. I don't know how to say any more languages, guys.
I'm pulling the just preparing the gun right next to Frederick. Just in case communication attempts fail.
It looks at Frederick, and then in a very unnatural, quick jerk, it turns its head to the side as if trying to understand. And it slowly begins to stand.
Can we try to figure out what manner of... I mean, this doesn't look like a natural thing. Is it a form of supernatural something we are facing? Bishop thinks it's a demon. No, it's clearly... No. The scriptures talk about these beings. Guys, don't worry. We got everything here. With the holy water and the good book. It'll be a battle for our souls, but I'm sure we'll win it. Can Bishop try to figure out what type of a demon or not this thing is?
Is there a specific thing you want to do? Like a tactic
Occult
or...
knowledge. A tactic figuring out is possible, or basic occult tactic, I think, is something that we should use identification effectively.
Okay.
We don't even know what that is, so intelligence occult, I think, is the base.
If you want to make a tactic roll, then just nominate a leader. Otherwise, just give me the roll.
That's what I'm thinking, guys. If you are not in disagreement, let's do a tactics to figure out what that is. Identification are pretty strong occult.
Fuck. And what the
Dice pools, the primary is intelligence plus occult. Secondary actors are wits investigation, collecting evidence, wits stealth, tailing the target, or wits plus occult research. Obviously,
Snap
tailing the
decision here.
target doesn't make sense.
That's
Yeah,
where
I
this
think
is like
we-
snap decision. I don't need a full tactics roll.
Okay. Snap decision.
Snap decisions are occult, wits and occult, so
Intelligence
Let-
occult.
intelligence occult. Alright, let's go with intelligence occult. That's all good. Alright, so done, and let's do it. Okay. I don't know.
2 successes. There's not a lot of information you can draw. You would assume that with your rosaries, cross, and the good book out, if it was some sort of demonic entity, it would have shown at least some sign. It hasn't even acknowledged them, and if it has no idea what they are.
Okay.
As
So, not a
for
demon.
other beings, there's a couple of things it could be, but none of them quite fit. It's an emaciated human, lost in the wilderness, Wendigo, but the region's not right. They're basically everything that it could be. There's very strong evidence to support that it's not. It's a very weird sensation where you're like, it could be this, wrong region. Could be this, wrong skin tone. Could be this, wrong MO type deal.
Okay. So rather than knowing what it is, I'm able to eliminate a few things. As it's not a demon, I'm putting it back, folks. It doesn't look like a demon. It's not responding. So let's be cautious. I don't know what that is, but I don't think I've ever seen this before. Whatever this type is. So I'm not lowering the gun, basically, right next to Frederick. And seeing if this is gonna attack us. In the absence of knowledge, at least we don't think it's a demon, which is not bad.
Well, in the absence of it replying back or showing some sign that it can even understand me,
Do you see the kids? I'm just at the same level that only you could hear. Do you see the kids anywhere? Remember where we are here for.
It takes a step towards Frederick. Slowly. One step. Then another. Until it's roughly about arm's distance away from Frederick. Your arm's length, not its. Let me be clear. It leans in. Getting exceedingly close to your face.
Gonna, just a little bit back, obvious.
And the gun is straight, from the abdomen towards it, right next to Frederick. Gun is still there.
It opens its mouth. And as it begins to scream, the mouth elongates. You can see the skin pulling. You can see the lumps underneath the head start to erupt from its scalp. Blood and sinew draping what looks to be a set of antlers. As fur begins to coat the pale white skin. And instead of a human face screaming in Frederick's face, it's a four-eyed... trying to think of the best way to describe it. Water buffalo style head.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Hunter the Vigil, Critical Measures, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion Anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcomed. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, why must those who hunt monsters hunt themselves?